Our second.
You don't need this one.
No. I think you're gonna hit it. I think you're gonna win. I hit it right on the head, didn't I?
I know, right?
Yeah, you're kind of talented. Oh, yes. Double cleaners, yeah, maybe.
A good session to go to. Freebies.
I was like, I know I saw you come in. Where'd you go? A little stroke from the door.
Right, exactly.
Spotlight right on you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Hello, hello. We're really excited to be here. My name is Dana Schussler. I'm one of the regional managers here at Bloomberg Law. I cover the Northeast, the Southeast, as well as part of the West, so I'm all over the country. And I'm here today with my esteemed colleague, Tara Jackson.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. I see some familiar faces. As Dana mentioned, so I'm a relationship manager with Bloomberg Law, and I cover all of Georgia, Alabama, and northern and central Florida. So I see a few of my lovely librarians out here. And so today we really want to share with you some of our resources that we have to help students to be practice ready. We work very closely with our counterparts who work in the law firms, and one of the things that we hear time and time again and have been hearing for the past few years is students have finished law school, they've passed the bar, they're not ready to practice. They don't know how to use the resources that you guys have well enough to actually start working, and the learning curve is so steep, it takes so long to get them prepared. What are you doing and what can you do to help us get them there? And I've also heard from you guys over the years that you're hearing that too. Really?
So we want to work with you and partner with you, and that's what today's session is all about. So we're going to showcase some of the resources and technology that we have on our platform that can aid you in your curriculum and show you how students can become practice ready and marketable for employers. So starting off, how many of you are familiar with Bloomberg Law? Yay! How many of you do not have Bloomberg Law accounts?
You can be honest. All right.
We're going to get you a Bloomberg Law account.
Done today.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So wonderful.
Good. That's a wonderful starting place. So let's actually go ahead and get into the system, and we are going to get you to the table later so we can get your account set up. But I'm going to go ahead and sign in.
And do all of you know each other? Sort of. Since it's
we don't know all of you.
Yeah, so since it's a small group and we introduced ourselves, we'd like you guys to just do a quick introduction of where you are, what school, and what your position
Role.
is. So, okay.
My name is Bill Lewis. Let's see on you.
I love it.
Love it too. Yep.
I am Harold Grady, a reference librarian, adjunct faculty member of Brooklyn Law School.
Ashley Albrand, I'm the Educational Technology Librarian in Bloomington.
Hi, I'm Charlie Perkins, Elon University. I'm the Access Services Librarian.
Hi, good job. I'm the Associate Law Librarian for Collection.
Isaac Samuels, the
All the time.
Maureen Cato. My title is Student Services.
Welcome and thank you.
Slide in. Introduce yourself.
I'm Emily Barney, and I'm the Technology and Training Librarian in Chicago, Penn.
And we had one more.
One more.
Walking it.
I'm a Chicago Penn. Administration, Finance,
Yes. You win the longest title of the day award.
I know. You were close.
You almost had it. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And part of that is really just so we can get to know who's in the room and make sure that the session is really crafted towards what some of your roles are. And so I think we're going to touch on a little bit of what you all do at some point in time. And ready? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. The way that I'm going to display this is we are going to sort of separate out some of our transactional resources separately from our litigation resources so that you can see when they come to me and they need this particular skill set, these are the resources that we have. So starting with everyone's favorite, dockets on Bloomberg Law. Who has used dockets on Bloomberg Law before? Who loves dockets on Bloomberg Law? Good. Great. So I wanted to just, for some of you who has not yet seen or used dockets on Bloomberg. Okay, couple people. So for you guys, I want to introduce you to Bloomberg Law dockets. And for those of you who use it regularly, show you possibly a couple of our newer features that you may have not yet seen. So dockets on Bloomberg Law can be accessed through the litigation and dockets tab at the top. And one of the questions that we always get is, what courts are covered? What do you have? What's covered? So when you click on the litigation and dockets tab, you will see a link right here for docket coverage. That's going to take you to a docket coverage map that displays a beautiful view of the country. If you want coverage for a particular state, right now we're in Georgia, so I'm going to go with the home state, then you can click on the state of Georgia and see what Georgia courts are covered. For the fully electronic courts, those are generally going to be your federal courts. That means that we have the docket sheets and the underlying pleadings available for those courts from the date that they became electronically available, which we'll display. And then for the courts where it says docket only electronic, that means we have access to the docket sheets. However, that court does not make their pleadings electronically available. So if we don't have them, we don't necessarily have a way of giving them to you unless one of your counterparts who works in law firms has before said, we want to pay for a courier to go out and get that for you. If a firm sends us out on a courier request to get something from a court, before we hand it over, we scan it and put it on the system. So docket-only courts generally do not have pleadings electronically available, but there are circumstances where you might be able to pull up a docket-only court and find the pleading there, and it's because someone else has asked us to get it before.
You're doing this even for like, say the federal courts and things like that. Like a discount if you're the second person in, you get the document.
It's better than a discount. It's just free. So I'm actually going to show it to you. It's the best discount you can ever get. If you're the second person, you're good.
Once it becomes available on our site, it's available for everyone. So you don't have to read it.
So that's usually why we all love dockets, is that reason. So if you're looking for a particular state, you can click on and see our docket coverage, or on the docket coverage map, you can just say view the full coverage list, and it'll take you to a list where you can just see everything that we cover.
Yes.
So, just so I can clarify, because this is news to me. It says docket only electronic. That means that generally you don't have anything, but you might have some. So like it's
You'll
not
have
like
a cover sheet.
okay.
Yep.
So you'll have the docket sheet, but there may still be like you may have a brief from a Supreme Court case in Alaska.
Right. It depends upon the case.
But it'll still say docket only electronic because generally
Yeah,
it's
because we don't have electronic access to all
Gotcha.
of the records in there.
I use this all in actual work.
Okay.
And, it's a marvelous thing when you go, you, yes,
It's
It's like winning the lottery.
And you're on our firm side, so for you, it's all paid for you. So you're like, yes, view free, yes. So let's actually get into that. Let's look at the docket, pull up a docket, and actually show what we mean with this whole view request, what's free thing. So under litigation and dockets, if you're ready to actually look into the dockets, you can click search dockets.
How many of you have used Pacer before? How many of you hate Pacer? Whoa, me too. Me too. Why do you hate Pacer?
Because it's archaic.
Because it's archaic.
Archaic.
It's like clunky. Yep. Okay.
That and it's like 50.
So
But I can't hate it because it exists.
you,
Well,
you-
it does exist,
It does
but it can be
exist.
better,
There
right?
is that other alternative.
Yes, but it can
there
be
is the
better.
alternative if it
Can be
didn't
better.
exist. So what we did in our company was we created an interface that would actually sit on top of Pacer and allow us to go in with our Bloomberg Law account. So when you search on dockets, you're saying, Bloomberg Law, will you please go with your Pacer account and go to Pacer to get me whatever it is that I'm looking for. So we actually created a search form with fields that you may not have available to you in Pacer that will help you to locate the information that you're looking for a little bit more quickly.
None of them are available to you in Facebook.
Party name,
And
date,
case number, right?
case number, yes. So, a few extra fields like searching by the judge or searching
keywords.
by keywords or the attorneys who are representing a party. So we've added in a bunch of different fields to help you with that process. So what I'm going to do is just quickly pull up a case that I was looking at earlier, thought was kind of interesting, and actually show what our docket cover sheets look like. So I'm going to go do a party name search, and I am going to look for a Pinterest case that is a trademark case, because I heard about this Pinterest trademark case. So all I'm going to do is a party name search, and I'm going to search for Pinterest. I get 29 results, but I don't even want to look through all 29 Pinterest results. On the left-hand side, I have the option to filter my results. So if there's one of those categories on the previous page that I didn't fill in before because I just want to see what was there, I can now narrow the results down even further. So I said I know I'm looking for a trademark case. Well, one of my options is federal nature of the suit, and there goes those property right trademark cases. I can narrow it down just to see the ones I want, and there's the case that I was interested in. Voila. So the narrowing feature, the filtering feature is a really good benefit because it allows you to start very broad and then narrow down a little bit further after you see what kind of results you've gotten.
And remember, you are not charged for any of these searches.
No.
So you can click and make mistakes. There are no additional fees for any of this.
And this is another one of the we like searching on here because by now you've already paid a couple bucks at Pacer to do the search, and you didn't have to here. So I've clicked into the docket sheet. Again, all of this is still free. And now my most important tip, because I always have this moment where I say, and how many of you are really excited because your Pacer, you've seen your Pacer fees go down a lot, and without fail, someone will say, oh, but there's a professor who told me that there are things on Pacer that you guys don't have on Bloomberg Law. Not true. Okay, they say, oh, they pull up the docket sheet and it's not complete. It is. But there's one little thing you have to do. Because remember on Pacer, every time you run this, every time you look at the docket, you have to pay. Well, if we go and we update every one of our docket sheets, we have to pay for that too. And that'd be millions of dollars a day. And we'd be out of business really quickly, and then no one would get free dockets anymore.
Mike Bloomberg would be a little upset.
I think Mike Bloomberg would be very upset with
He has
us
the money,
if we did that. So because of that, we don't update the dockets automatically. When you find a docket that you're interested in, it's up to you to say, hey, Bloomberg, I want you to update the docket. And for my academic users, it's free. I have to point that out because I have a firm user in here too.
Yeah, so yeah, if y'all would please go update.
Update everything. She just wants you to update everything for her. So academic
We
user.
didn't hear that.
We didn't hear it, and we can't stop it. All right. So for my academic users, it's free for you. On the right-hand side, when you first open up the docket, you'll see, we've bolded it out for you, the date that this docket was last updated. If it's not today, tell them to update it. Just update the docket. So right under it, there's a link, update the docket. For academic users, you'll see that your fee is waived, and you're just gonna click accept. And wait a minute, the docket didn't update. Well, that's because we have to go through to Pacer, pull out the changes, there we go. This docket has been updated with changes, so if I'd relied on it before, I would have missed entries. It's been updated with changes, but notice that my date and timestamp didn't change. The file has been updated, the page you're looking at on your computer screen has not. You just have to refresh the page. So you're gonna go through, refresh the page, and then you'll see that, no, it should in a moment. It'll go through, it did this earlier. Where it waited till the second refresh. Ta-da, the date and timestamp changes, and now I will see entries that were not there before. Before we stopped at October 21st, now I see the additional entries. So that is it. If they're telling you there are things on Pacer that I'm not getting on Bloomberg Law, ask, but did you update the docket?
And
Because
students sometimes forget this, so make sure that they know.
Yes.
Yes.
they get
yes.
they get very testy about this, and it's just because they have to tell us that they want to see the most recent version so that we can actually go and get it for them. Okay. So now that thing that we were talking about with the whole view and request and what's free and what may not be, for academic users, anything that you do in dockets is going to be free.
For electronic.
For electronic. If you need for us to go and request paper and request hard copy dockets for you and send out a courier, that's where fees will accrue. But if we can go to Pacer and get it, we're still going to eat the Pacer cost for our academic users. If it's available there, we'll eat it.
If I'm in, a private, non-academic setting, use this, I actually have free access. Is there a way for me to put my piece?
It's going through the Bloomberg ID.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there is a way to put your case numbers on
Right.
certain things, but no, it goes
I
straight.
know that
Yeah.
with my ID on Pacer.
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
you can
you'll
do,
still be able to get yours through Pacer because you can always get your individual ones. But if you were interested in, for purposes of, for example, trying to figure out what happened in a previous case when someone sued the same person that I'm trying to sue now,
What I like to do though is go into yours and then put in my ID. Because it's better.
right. Oh, so you wanted the ability to
so-
go, yeah, it won't,
And then update it that way without having to pay money.
yeah.
Yeah, and one note, there is nothing free. The only thing that's free for everything else they have to pay.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you ran, picked
Just
that
running the
up,
search for yourself.
you would
Yeah.
still pay that.
You're still gonna pay. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, so the distinction for, as why Sarah was saying, please go and request everything so that her attorneys, she and her attorneys can have access to it, is that as on your academic accounts, you have the ability to request whatever we can get electronically for you, and we will eat the cost. So for example, I see this declaration here. If it's something that I'm interested in, I'm just going to click request. I see the fee is waived because I'm on an academic account. I just accept it. We'll go to Pacer and within moments immediately pull it up, just as we did before when we looked at the docket and updated it. You'll get a pop-up in your right-hand corner as soon as it's available saying
you'll
this
also get
entry
an
has been
email
retrieved.
to tell you that it's available.
And you'll also get an email. So you can go off of this page and keep doing your research if it takes a little bit for it to show up. But when it's there, you'll get the pop-up. Additionally, for items that are already available, you won't even see a request option. You'll just see view. And Sarah sees view too on her side. View means someone before you has already asked for that document. And when we paid Pacer, we only had to pay them the one time, and we put it on the system, and now it's free to everyone. So you're just going to click view, pull up the document that you're interested in, and then go ahead and view it, print it, email it, do whatever you want to your heart's content because it's available for you now on the system. And we're going to go back.
Any questions on dockets?
And now we saw, oh, we might have missed it, but there was the pop-up from our document arriving. But now when I refresh, that same document will also show up in view status. There it is. The declaration is now view because we requested it. So it happens fairly quickly that you'll be able to access that. It just takes us time to go to Pacer, run the search on Pacer to pull it up for you, and access it for you there. One of the other things with dockets, one of the things that we've done with our technology at Bloomberg Law is we've tried to make everything very integrated. So if something relates to something else, we put links throughout so that you can maneuver around them fairly quickly. So if I have this case that was in a federal district court, there was probably an opinion issued on it at some point. Well, notice on the right-hand side, we'll also give you links to the related opinions that match this particular docket. So I'd be able to go in, click on the most recent opinion, and now I'm actually into the court opinion and I can see the judge's opinion related to the docket. And if I want to see, again, previous history related to it or see what those other docket numbers that were there relate to, I can just look at the direct history on this case and get into those immediately as well. Questions about anything related to dockets? Cool. All right. So we're going to circle back to litigation in a bit because I have a really fun tool that I want to end on with it for you. But I'm going to go ahead and move into some of our transactional resources that we also have that your students are utilizing in practice. So our transactional resources can be accessed from the corporate transactions tab at the top. They can either be accessed directly from this tab or from this link over here to the corporate transaction, to Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions. Bloomberg Law Corporate Transactions, and I'll just show it to you quickly, is a specialized suite that we've built out where we've pulled all of our transactional resources that are on Bloomberg Law out into its own individualized suite. A lot of our corporate attorneys and students who know that they're going to go into corporate practice and are in that 3L year where they're very focused on the courses that relate to what they're going to practice tend to like this if they're in a corporate practice because it gets rid of all of the other information on the site that's not actually related to the workflow of corporate practice. And it's broken down here and also on the main site in the 3 categories that fall into the workflow of corporate practice: drafting, research, and guidance. Because that's what corporate lawyers do. That's essentially our lives. So under drafting, one of our most beneficial tools, how many of you have seen dealmaker documents before? Hey, we like samples. We like to be able to pull up real examples. So dealmaker documents is still there. When you pull it up from this drop down, it's just called precedent documents, but it's the same thing. You're gonna click on it and it will take you to our dealmaker documents database. The dealmaker documents database is a database of over 800,000 actually negotiated transactions. So the documents flowing from those transactions, these are not forms, these are not examples or samples that someone wrote, but these are the actually negotiated transactions. So you can decide on what it is that you're looking for. You can come here and say, for example, I need a licensing agreement. I can come in, instead of scrolling through, I can just type what I'm looking for. Bloomberg Law will listen and say, okay, let me pop up what it is that I think you're looking for related to licenses, and there it is. I can click on it and add it. Now, I told you that we're going to send you to all of these examples, but I know some of you don't want your students going straight to an example because they don't know what a license agreement is. And they're just gonna pull it up and copy and paste and take the party names out and change the date, right? And we don't want them to ever do that. So we've actually built in guidance to try to help them understand what these documents are. So for example, under licenses, you can click on the little I and it'll give them a quick overview of what this document is. So when that partner assigns it, they can say, ooh, what's that? Yes.
Along those same lines. Summer job. Is there, and I'm not found.
Through Edgar? Sure. I mean, we have an entire like securities practice center that goes through the guidance of it.
I'm like on the front. National tab or something.
Right, and then when you do
In the Edgar search.
Yeah. I mean, through all of Bloomberg Law, when you see these little circle eyes, that will pop up the information bubble, and then they'll see exactly what that form is.
But there's no like just direct.
There, yeah, we can show you the directory afterwards. Yeah, absolutely. It's on a separate on the Edgar search. But yeah.
Yeah, so anytime that they're not certain about what a particular document is, I encourage them to go and look at and click on the little I before they even walk into their meeting with said partner or senior attorney over the summer and click on it to see what that document is. But before they start drafting, they can come here and actually take it a step further and click on more. And more takes them to an actual drafting guide that says, these are the parts of this document. This is what you should see when you pull up this document, so that now when they're pulling up these samples and examples, they can look at it and say, these are the key sections that should be here. This is what's not here. Why is it missing? Or these sections are extra. They're not included on my drafting guide, so why did they include them in this particular deal, and do I need to include them too? And so it helps them to have some type of a guide to think through the process and not just copy, paste, and change information. So let's go ahead and pull up one of these sample versions. I'm just going to go ahead and look at all the licensing agreements and just click search. Thousands, of course. and we don't want to go through thousands. So now I still have that filter your results option over there. So now I can think about how I want to filter. And especially for transactional documents, there are two things that I like to filter by the most: industries and governing law. Because if I know what governing law we're using, so I know certain stipulations need to be in that particular agreement, then I want to narrow that way. And then also by industry, that's incredibly important because the licensing agreement for a pharmaceutical company is going to be very different from the licensing agreement from an apparel company. So let's go ahead and do an industry search, and I will sort by pharmaceutical companies. And then let's go ahead and click in and look at an example. So here's, we'll do this one. Flourish. So I click in, and now I see the actual text of this particular agreement, and I can go through, see what's there, see what matches what I'm looking for. Is this what I need? But I can actually take this a step further and do something a little bit different. Because before I rely on this one and say it looks good, how do I know if it looks good if I'm kind of new at this? Well, one of the ways that things tend to look good is, does it meet industry standard? Is this what normally appears in this kind of document? And that's something that seasoned lawyers, like incredibly seasoned lawyers who've done this for a long time, tend to know. But if you're newer, you haven't seen enough of these to know whether or not this is normal. So we've added in a feature called the Draft Analyzer. So you can come in, pull up the document you're interested in, and click Run Draft Analyzer. And what that's going to do is take the language that's in this document and run it across all the other documents like it that we have on our system to see, is this language common? Is this something that is generally standard? So you can scroll through, and so for example, let's get to a meteor section. Oh, it's still analyzing. We're at 60%.
This is probably
it's
a very
running a little
large-
slow.
Large agreement.
Larger, it's running a little slower. Here we go. So we got into a fairly substantive section, and now I see that there are 4 templates available. So I can go through and actually look at those templates, and it's going to show them to me in a red line view comparing the document that I just looked at with the templates that they found to see where mine is different. But in addition to seeing where mine is different, I'm also going to be able to see what agreements they compared it against and who actually drafted those. So now I can sort of run some more higher level kind of analytic comparisons if I'm negotiating a deal with someone. And these are actually the tools that your students are using over the summer. The firms are encouraging them to actually do these kinds of things. All right. Draft, so that's really cool. It's a cool feature to be able to actually look at the site and pull up a document and run that. But the real value in Draft Analyzer that comes to your students in practice is to be able to do that with something that the other side sends them. So if I'm entering into a negotiation and the other side is going to start off the document and I'm going to review it, well, how do I know that the document that they sent me is meeting industry standard? How do I know that it's good? So I went ahead and actually pulled up a contract. That on there. Can I erase? Work? No. Sorry, technology fail. Yeah, look at you. Good job. All right. That's what she's here for, guys. Yeah. Technical assistance, that's her goal. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the language of one of these agreements. And then at the top, under corporate transactions, there's a link directly under drafting into Draft Analyzer. And now that's going to take me to a portion in Draft Analyzer where I can do a drag and drop or a copy and paste, and I can actually paste the language that I received before and now tell the system to go ahead and analyze that. So when someone else sends me language and says, oh, it just meets industry standard, I can actually put it in to see, but does it really? Are there other documents across Bloomberg, which we're actually pulling from all these negotiated documents, are there documents out there available that do have this same language in it? Questions? A deal maker or draft analyzer?
So yeah, students are really loving this because they're not seeing real-life agreements in a lot of their classes, and then when they start their summer associate positions, day one, they get an assignment, and it's like, okay, draft X, Y, and Z, or draft this clause, and they have absolutely no idea where to start. So to have this tool available, and they can actually do the comparison and see the red lines from real-life agreements is super, super helpful.
Yeah.
Yes?
Is there a way to save this view that it can then be shared? So like the students were gonna do.
Right. So you can share this with.
Yeah, you could do, well, this one doesn't act because it's running the analytic at this very moment, and it changes every time we add things in. There isn't an automatic share from this screen, but you could always do a print screen or just copy or cut a portion of the screen out and paste it into a Word doc and share it. But this particular screen, well, once the draft analyzer is run, it doesn't have that option because it changes so frequently. Questions? All right, so one of my other favorite transactional tools, which actually is sort of an all-encompassing transactional and litigation tool, is our company information. Who has looked at company profiles and info on Bloomberg? Yay, it's the Bloomberg differentiator, right? Like, that's our thing, is company information.
Yeah, so for those of you that haven't seen company profiles, we have a profile for every single publicly traded company in the world, as well as 2 million private company profiles. And Tara will pull one up right now, but students love the company profiles because A, it's great research when they're looking for jobs, or if they are working for a company, or if they're representing a particular client that they may not know that much about, they can pull that company profile page directly on Bloomberg Law.
Yep, so again, we're in the heart of Georgia, and the most important company in Georgia is?
Oh, one of them.
Oh, it's Delta too. Oh, yeah.
I'm a Delta
Delta, Georgia Southern. Okay, well, to me, the most important company, because I drink a Coke every day, and have since I was probably like 5, I'm committed, is Coca-Cola. So I'm gonna type in the Coca-Cola company, and we're gonna go ahead and pull them up, and let's take a look at their company profile page, and we'll cover everything on there. So the company profile page is built to give you an all-encompassing view of who this company is and what they do. So when you first log in, or when you first pull up a company profile, the first thing you'll see is the company overview. Who is this company? What do they do? Well, the interesting thing about the overview, when I typed in why the overview is so important. When I typed in the Coca-Cola company, you might have seen other versions of Coke also pop up on that drop down. It was Coke Enterprises and Coke Europe, and then there's the Coca-Cola Co. And so looking at the overview will help you to distinguish what this particular division of this company does, or what this corporate entity of the company does versus another one, so that you make sure you're actually looking at the entity that you wanted to see. Right under the overview is a section where you can browse some very particular company information. So if you want to see the financials, you want to see the holdings, you want to see all the particular filings of this one particular company, then you can do that. My 2 features in the browsing of company information that I love to share with your students the most, because most of the time when they are looking at company information, they are usually looking at it for employment purposes, is one of 2 things: the company hierarchy. Yeah.
I got a yes.
I got a yes.
Yes, because then you can also determine if you're using the right company.
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's my whole point with them. So I share this as well. Your job, and their job in looking at the company, is to determine one of 3 things. Who do I want to work for? Who do I want to pitch? Or who do I want to sue? Like, so in order to know these things, you have to know who the entities are. So the company hierarchy will take you through seeing all the entities, all of the subsidiaries, all of the companies where they are majority shareholders, so you can actually see who Coke really is. Okay, so that's the company hierarchy. And then also management profiles. So management profiles are really important because we go through the discussion of getting to know who runs the company and getting to know who it is that you actually need to speak to. So as lawyers, we need to speak to this person, chief legal counsel or general counsel. That is your person, that is your go-to, which is Bernard. So we click on Bernard, beautiful pop-up of his face, but then I can go to view full profile and get even more detailed information about this individual. And it's a really good way of starting the discussion with them about what it means in terms of bringing that marketability component, what you need to do in actually approaching a potential employer. Yes?
Sure, yeah, we have. I mean, this is all public information, so news about Bernard, his employment information, all that's public. If something's incorrect, absolutely. we
Yes,
can
if
change
it's
that
incorrect,
information.
then they can definitely call us and we will update it and get things changed. But as far as like having individual control, if they're in their like Wikipedia
It's not
updates,
Wikipedia.
we won't do that.
This is often the stuff that you would
I
Yeah.
understand that, but it's also, they don't want their phone number.
Oh, it's the office phone number, so that's also public. It's probably on the website as well as where we got it from. Yeah.
How current, sorry. How current is all the information?
It really depends on when the information was last updated publicly. So if their website is current, that information is current. Whenever they are in the news feed is actually pulling from our news feed, so that's going to be current as of whenever they were last in. So Bernard was last mentioned on February 23rd in the news. So we're only going to pull in mentions of that person, not necessarily their company, because it's their individual profile. So that's the last time he was mentioned. So the newsfeed is pulling in real time. And all the other information is going to be as current as of when we were last able to get it.
How do you do that?
We have a lot of little interns now. We pull all the information. We have a database of information, and we pull it. Anyone that's in our company profile pages, we do it.
There's scans for them, and we update it.
Question?
Do you have any?
Don't currently have that, but
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, now it's Microsoft, but yes.
I don't know how Microsoft feel about it now that they're buying LinkedIn, but that's cool. Apparently, we should have bought LinkedIn. Yes, so that is a people profile. So the same way we have the company profile pages, there's also individual people profile pages. I don't know what's happening out there. It's rain. Oh, that is a rain.
I don't see the rain over here.
It's raining in one spot right
Is it? I
here.
just don't see it.
It's not raining there, but it's raining right here. All right. So,
Yes,
oh,
right here.
is that
on that street.
It's on that street only.
Yes.
So also on the company profile page is the stock performance chart, so I can see, and now it's stopping. So I can see, no, it's not. So I can see what the performance of this company's stock has been. But more important than that to us in the legal practice is the information that I can get under more. Because seeing the stock performance chart is great, and there are a lot of financial people who I'm sure care about that. But for us, we're more focused on the why. Stock prices go up and down with the news of the day. So if the stock prices went up and down, something happened. And I always like to posit, if it happened in the news, there was a legal issue somewhere behind it. You just have to figure out what that was. So for example, on this particular day, there was a little bit of a decrease in stock prices. I can click on it, that's today. So what is happening? Soft drink sales continue to slide. And so now there's a dip. So I see the news change to the news for the particular day that I clicked on. And so now I can check to see what is happening with my client, what is happening that I can help my client with. And I can start to forecast where they may have needs that I can also meet. And so again, it's getting your students focused on the things that their employers want. Not only do these firms want your students to be practice ready, they also want them to start thinking of producing business early. Correct, Sarah?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, we got one.
Always.
They want clients tomorrow.
Yes.
On the previous page where you had to represent.
Yep, we're headed to that next.
It's cool.
It's amazing.
Laura, I just have one question about what it exactly is pulling.
Yep, so I'll go over all of that. So, along the same lines with that whole representation and now moving our focus to the client, we have this wonderful representation analytics chart. So at the top, I can see the law firms that are doing the most business for the Coca-Cola company.
In federal litigation.
In federal litigation. It's pulling in federal litigation. So I'm seeing who is handling the federal litigation for the Coca-Cola company. On the bottom, I'm seeing what kind of cases those were. What types of cases do you currently have in court? But I can make it better. over this, I can click and launch an analytic where now I'm going to be able to control what it is I see. So this is representation analytics. This is showing representation analytics from the company's perspective. So you see the company view. I can look at, again, the law firms representing Coke in federal litigation. I can look at the types of cases that Coke has or that Coke has had in litigation. I can look at the history of their litigation to see when have they had the most, what's been going on, when do they peak, when do they tend to valley. And then I can also look at a jurisdictional chart that shows me sort of in heat map type of format where most of this litigation is taking place in the country. But to take that a step further, I can layer this information on top of each other. So, for example, from your student's perspective, most of them, again, look at this for employment purposes. I'm interested in working for a company that does business with or represents companies like Coke. What they would probably do is come here, take a look at case types, because first of all, their goal isn't to necessarily work for Coke. They want to be a certain kind of lawyer. I want to be a lawyer who practices this. So they're going to say, I'm an attorney and I'm interested in trademark. And so I'm going to look at Coke's trademark cases. And we're going to go ahead and run the analytic. And now we're going to pull for you the law firms that are doing the most trademark work for Coke. And now I can actually look at these particular firms and pull them out. So Debevoise doing quite a bit of trademark work for Coke. And I'm going to click on them. And now I'm going to be able to look again directly into the dockets. I'll be able to go directly into the dockets for that work, but then also on the jurisdictional map, where is Debevoise actually doing their work for Coke? So I can see if I'm working in the New York office for them, am I going to be doing
Here comes my
that work?
question, and that is, you know, what kind of, so they have an interview with Devil.
I got you.
So.
We can do that too.
I got you.
Backwards through it?
We can do that
Yep,
too.
we can flip it around for you too. So I wanted to show you that way coming in from a company profile. But you can now also, get to representation analytics from litigation and dockets. There's a link to representation analytics there. So if I was looking for the law firm, I can either click representation analytics there and click on law firm, or since we're already in it, I'll just flip to law firm view. Right now I'm going to type in the name of the firm that I'm interested in. So I'm having an interview with Alston & Bird. I type them in, click on them, and now I'm going to get a list of the companies that Alston & Bird is doing the most of their federal litigation representation of. So there it is.
So this is
No, it's anything that's already filed, whether it's closed or currently active.
And if it's in a state court.
No, it's
Yeah,
just
and if it's in a
federal
state court, we're not pulling that in either. So it's just federal litigation that is active or closed.
Yeah, but this is a great starting point for students that have that interview with Alston and say, okay, now I need to know exactly what their, what kind of cases they're representing, and then going into an interview, actually have legitimate questions to ask those partners. I've done my research, I know exactly what you represent, I'm not just looking at your website, I'm doing expansive research on you.
And go ahead.
I read that editorial that your CEO wrote in the New York Times the other day.
Yep. See?
Exactly.
And one of the other things that I also impressed upon students was that this is great for your actual interview process, but then a lot of your students, when they get to firms, they have to select certain practice groups that they sort of want to court and say, I want to work for you to maybe get in your group. And this is also a good way to determine which practice groups have a lot of work, who might actually be interested in me, because they're actually probably going to hire in that group. So I encourage them to come here and start with case types. Look at case types. If you know that you're going to Alston & Bird, what kind of litigation is this firm doing the most? And that's a way to figure out who you're going to court, where you're going to go, making yourself marketable, making sure that even when they're initially sending Alston & Bird their resume, if you know who or you know what kind of work they're doing the most, play up those skills on your resume so that they know this fits with what my firm actually needs.
Can you do that over, like, can you do last 5 years and last year,
Mm-hmm.
and then current to see if there's a growth portion as well?
Mm-hmm. So you can customize what kind of view you want to see. We have 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. 5 years is the default, or you can create a custom time period.
And then you can see the litigation history.
Here, win-loss record.
I'm sorry?
Ooh, a win-loss record.
Yeah, so if you say, yes, they're representing these people, but are they representing them well?
So, Yes, well, so we can't, the only way you're gonna be able to see that is to actually go through the dockets as of now. We are currently working on, or our product team is currently working on turning this into a judicial analytics feature that will allow you to see like what judges, what courts tend to rule a certain way, and with that information, you may be able to pull in more of that into the representation
I think
analytics.
that's the goal of where this product is going. Right now, it's in beta. It was just recently released, but that's definitely kind of where that's going. It's really having those analytics so that lawyers and students can actually see, right, success
It
rates.
looks like it's like, so if they've been representing Microsoft, they have to lose their name on it.
Right, exactly.
They might not much longer.
Sure.
True. That's very true.
Yes.
Thought of something that
They're not.
they're not, we might need to be. Ooh,
And you can. Did you know that? Were you setting that up? You knew that, Sarah?
I knew that I would be able to if I used my new.
Yeah.
I would probably get a little more involved.
So we've got a little time, so I'll show you the who's doing deals for who, because I'm sure you want to know that too. Yeah, everyone else might want to. Everyone's not a litigator. So going back to the transactional who's doing deals for who, there is a way to see that. It won't show up in the same beautiful pie chart because we have kind of different information that we're pulling in. But under corporate transactions, there's a link to deal analytics. And deal analytics is the who's doing the deal for who section. So under deal analytics, I can have the option of choosing whether I want M&A or equity offerings, what kind of deal do I want to see. But in the who's doing deals for who, I can say my client is Coke, and I can say, let's show me this particular party. I want to see Coca-Cola. There's the Coca-Cola company. Now I'll see that there are 134 deals for Coke in the system. Search, and now I can see which of these deals, what these deals were, and what was involved.
Also see the status of the deal as
Click
well.
in, see the status. Depending on the type of deal, sometimes it will determine whether or not.
Scroll to the bottom.
There we go.
The legal advisor.
And so I can see who's doing the deal. But then also from this too, one of the things that I heard from firm lawyers recently, so you would be interested in this, I think, is sometimes I don't know who my own firm is doing all their deals for. And so from the deal analytics page, you can actually run that same search for your firm. So you don't have to search by party, you can run the search. I will for you. Let's go back. Actions, deal analytics, M&A. Advisor. Oh, first, sorry, not individuals. Thank you. Advisors. Smith, Gambrell, and Russell. And so it'll show there's 26 M&A deals showing. That's only M&A. You'd run it again for the equity offerings. And so now you can see when they are. The last one was just announced last month. So now you can run and you can make sure that you're keeping track of what's happening too. You're welcome. You're welcome. Are there any other questions about any of those cool resources that we showed? Now, we showed all these cool resources, but how are your students actually getting comfortable enough to use them, right? Like where are you showing them this? What are they doing? Well, we have actually created certification modules that will help your students learn that we'll first introduce them to the resources and then help them learn it effectively enough that they feel comfortable doing it in practice. So from the homepage, there's a link on the right-hand side here to the Bloomberg Law Certification program. When you click on it, you'll see that we are not just doing one traditional certification. We've actually broken out 4 separate modules. The first one being Intro and Navigation, which is just, this is my first time really using Bloomberg Law or probably any research platform. So for your 1L students that are coming in new in the fall, just how to navigate around our system, pull up cases, pull up statutes. The next one is Fundamental Legal Research. That gets much more detailed into the things that you're teaching them over the legal research course. So Boolean searching, using the citator is going to be covered there. And then we have 2 advanced courses, one for litigation and one for transactional. So it takes them down each separate track depending on what their focus is on. And they will be exposed to all of these same tools through that certification module. And the way that it's set up, it's 20 to 30 minutes long per course. And each course is set up so that there's a 2 to 3 minute video clip, and then 1 or 2 questions, another 2 to 3 minute video clip, 1 or 2 questions, so that they're constantly engaged throughout and that they're not just sort of zonking out and then taking a test at the end. If they, go ahead.
Are those set up so that we could embed? Was it just saying they were watching the videos, but actually did click on?
So we can provide you with those statistics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We can,
absolutely.
yeah, so for certification, we would provide you with those. The relationship managers for each of your individual schools have access to the list of the students who've taken the certification program. Additionally, in addition, after each student has completed each of the certifications, they'll also receive an email certificate that says you are certified in Bloomberg Law Fundamental Legal Research or in Bloomberg Law Transactional Research. So they'll get a certificate, but then we also can pull up all this information and provide it to you in a beautiful spreadsheet that is easily searchable and well organized.
Is that link available on faculty? And
Yes.
can we do?
Yes, we encourage you to do them. Please do the certifications, and we also like feedback about them. So do them, and then feel free to let your relationship manager, know what you think about it,
Right.
because
And we're adding a couple new courses throughout the year.
Yes.
So there'll be a couple.
Yep.
And we've heard great feedback from the professors that have used certification
Yes.
and have used it either to flip the classroom or they just add it to their syllabus as homework or whatever else, and it is just a supplemental piece of resource that you can use.
And as far as the embedding, so the certification program, because it sits on our system, cannot be embedded, but we do have other training resources that you can embed into like a LibGuide or other course information, and that is available also from our homepage under the Law School Success section. There's a link to videos and reference guides, and we have an entire training library of short videos. These are like 5 to 7 minute videos on each individual topic. So there's a topic on, for example, a quick video on draft analyzer, which we just did, quick videos on dockets for our 1Ls, court opinions in B-site, or statutes, or just federal regulations. So whatever, and I work with a lot of legal research professors who are using these videos to flip the classroom. So they have the students go through and they assign the videos as part of their homework so that they've actually gone through and like do a little quick research task on it and then come back to the class actually ready to do the work. And
these videos are available on YouTube, so if you want to
Yes.
overlay a caption or something else, you can do that on those videos.
yeah, so you can string as many of them together as you want or just do them in small snippets.
Yeah, could we put them in something like that?
Mhm.
Allow us to
Yep.
intersperse the questions.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Any questions about anything that we covered today? Or thoughts? I love thoughts and feedback. We love to take that back. I know. All right,
We'll add it
I'm
to
gonna
the
take that
list.
back. We'll put that on the list.
Add it to the list.
You give us good growing lists. I like it.
Oh, y'all are gonna love all these products.
Sarah's always got some good suggestions. I love it.
And just so you know, your students have access to Bloomberg Law throughout their law school career. They can use it over the summer, no matter where they're working, and then we provide access 6 months after graduation to use for any purpose.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much. If you have any other questions, please feel free to stop by the table. And you please come see us so we can get you set up.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And if you did not get a headset, please stop by for a headset.
Please stop by and get them. Yes, I took it as we were. It's on here. Got it. Just a few minutes. It's comfortably here.
I didn't get one.
Yes, here you go.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
you on.
Great job.
Thank you very much. You didn't get a headset either. Oh, we can sit you.
Because I didn't get one, you want to take
One right now.
Oh, the pen?
Yellow.
Yellow? There you go. Take whatever you did. Got black, blue, and yellow. All right.
take the blue
Oh, it's gone. Too quick. They were quick.
We get some tape. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I guess they will still be recorded. Are you guys gonna buy Lexus?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
I always thought. Do you want to
fill this out right here?
Was initially they went into law because Thompson Finance and Reuters Finance were combining, and they wanted to publish it. They take money out of West, which was basically subsidizing the two finance operations. I don't know if that's true.
Interesting. I don't think so. I think it was really just seeing a hole in the market, and that there was a hole for a lack of, even though Thompson was combining with the finance, they still weren't making it how to talk to each other, and we knew that
You have a law school
that
knowledge,
lawyers
right?
needed to understand
Okay,
business.
perfect.
And make business.
We're all seeing everything you're putting in there.
Yeah, that's okay. Nothing close to that.
Sure, why not? Oh, it's got the different sides. Yeah. Mine's fun. Got one more left.
To me, this is like the business stuff for the finance investment folks, big package.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, they have, it is, but so what we did, because, we still have the terminal, we still have the terminal platform for business and financial people, but for us, it was just about pulling in that information to allow lawyers to actually see what's happening on the business side with their clients, and just putting it in a way that's visible for the attorney, and not with so much business lingo and financial lingo that you can't really get what's happening. So we pull in a lot, but there's so much on the terminal that's not.
Alerts like the same representative.
I don't follow any of those.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can put alerts, you can put up a company watch, so you can find out when anything happens. If
Alright, we'll just say full
changes in stock prices, or something's happening in the news, everything.
Just write technology.
Yep.
The one thing that we should probably bring up, and it's
Read out the terms, yep.
So
Terms,
using
you're not a robot.
the corporate hierarchy
Check for
to
conflict.
say, this company is called,
You have to click all the
something
images of
that
grass.
has nothing to do with beverages.
Yeah, it's a little bit
And it's a subsidiary.
more advanced.
It's a wholly owned
So,
sub.
it's only on so so you can do it.
submit.
Yeah, that's,
And then we will send you an email with your username. You just have to click on the link and then access it. All right, great. Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right, we'll set you up with an account.
Okay, that's great. I'm private company, so I don't know if you want to give me an account.
Do you have, are you part of, are you an adjunct or anything? Are you affiliated with the law school?
LII, but I put up free law stuff, so that's, and
Right.
we do.
I mean, I can probably ask.
I'm on personally to websites for more, so.
Right. I mean, we can give you a free trial if you want. If you're affiliated with the law school, I can definitely get you
I
in.
mean, I
Sarah doesn't mind saying that her firm has it, but we're very careful with like.
Well, I figured it might
I'm
be
not
like.
litigating it.
Okay, okay. I mean,
But I like Bloomberg, I wish he was running for president.
Yeah.
So, I don't want Trump to win. Maybe it's very doesn't
Right.
go yet. Maybe next time.
yeah, well, thanks so much for stopping
No, I
by.
love this stuff. That's the best.
So,
Thank you.
and actually, that's something, that's a reason to reach out to librarians and other people in your area.
Yeah.
To talk to your students, because they're gonna be able to tell you, like, this, in the southeast is West Lodge area. There's very little, very few firms have multiple, it's West Lodge area. Don't know why, just is. And so, but somebody, in Indiana, could give you, a little more, and also talk to students about, again, it's getting the concepts and getting to where they understand the concept of strategy. Even if they don't have the things they've had in law school.
Yeah.
The crack.
Yeah, right. And it is.
It is, oh, no,
They also understand if they do end up. You don't want them running around research on, like, you don't want them doing research on a platform that is really probably best for courts research. You don't want, like, you want them to understand who does what the best, so that they can get there quickly, get the information done, because the fund doesn't want them hanging around for hours and yes, but even if we can't get you, if we can't. Who uses it? Like, we know, well, these sort of people do use it. And
And
it depends.
And it's not that I really need to know someone.
They go over the top,
Yeah.
they go
National.
national.
Yes.
That aspect is a little tough.
Thank you.
It's lovely to meet you, actually. That's great, because now I can actually go, okay, Cody actually uses them for a lot of people, like, yes, they do.
Like researching a company, or when I need to be able to pick multiple states at once and run the research across all of them. No, but I mean, like when I go to look at.
Yeah, that, well, it's
Let me combine states. Yeah.
But I know I've looked at very like historical.
Well,
Yeah.
and adding multiple. Yeah, but yeah, it needs to be, people are gonna go to legislative or, and they're, oh, okay, oh, that's a big mistake. So, yeah, so it would be. Multiple states. But you have to know how. You have to know how to do this. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and, yeah. Legislative part.
So this writing that,
It's really hard to do so many.
yeah.
It's just so long a list.
Okay.
Because like, where it says.
We don't get that in Indiana.
Because yes,
Places like in the.
they're not thinking.
That's what they.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, like.
Because they don't understand.
I feel like that alone is like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I actually talked to you.
You know, I saw her. I saw her and talked to her a little bit. Like, we basically like that's about.
I actually seen her, I was,
In a while.
yeah, that's because we, I figured this summer I'll get. That was right.
Smith came around.
Yeah. That's like,
I was born here, raised here. Except for.
maybe we can all grab lunch or something, in Chicago, that'd be really fun. I'm go, yeah, it's gonna be weird, because I'm
The first show was in Las
taking a
Vegas.
bus from the place down to the hotel.
Yeah.
It's different. Yeah, and we're all.
Yeah, 3.5 years. Love that
Are
firm.
you gonna still get the winner?
Gone anywhere.
So I am, I just. And I just dated.
No, it's just, it's summer with some shiny things. Yeah, I mean, it's just, everything is the same.
Don't.
You're a professional, it's.
It's a lot of people.
Because it's.
Opening up an office in Vegas, because it's too expensive. Housing prices are.
And that's how the housing. And hurt Vegas, was because people from California could come and buy 4 houses for what it costs to buy a house in California. And they did, and then the housing was here and
There's still a huge
I'm so glad I did that.
basically going to provide, maybe like,
Because I don't believe in digital. I don't believe in,